Hello, adventurers. Andy from Twisted Narrative here. And I'm going to do a quick video doing somewhat of a deep dive into an adventure that myself and my co-writer Matt have just put up to drive through. We've had a number of questions on Discord about it, and I thought just do an unscripted video, a sneak peek of it, and an explanation of what it's for, who it might suit, and everybody else, everything else. So it's not scripted. I'm just going to run through it. You can see here the splash page, the cover of it, Times Undreamed of, an epic adventure series for Shadowdark RPG. And we have written it with Shadowdark in mind. I'm currently loving that system, but it is rules light, and with a little bit of jiggery pokery, you can convert it to any other system, and you'll get a feel for it as I sort of go through. So what is this? Well, Times Undreamed of is a game setting, a campaign setting, grimdark fantasy, and the adventure, as I scroll down here, is called Beneath the Arena of Blood. And it says here, welcome to Times Undreamed of, an original fantasy adventure setting created for the fantastic Shadowdark RPG system. Beneath the Arena of Blood is the first in a series of adventures in this setting, and when combined with the free Shadowdark Quick Start rules, gives you all you need to run a 3+ hour introductory session. And it's important to sort of break this down a little bit. We wanted to use the quick start rules rather than the core rules. I did do the Kickstarter, I've got the core rules myself, but we wanted to make this as wide and as accessible to as many people as possible. So if you purchase this from Drive Through RPG, you can get the quick start rules for Shadowdark free from the same site, and then you are good to go. We want to do this so that we could try and coax people into trying Shadowdark as a game setting at a minimal cost, but also because we wanted to make it as rules light as possible so that it is easily convertible if you favour other systems. And this is an introductory adventure. Now, I have been asked, is this a gauntlet or is it a level 1 adventure? It is either. You can run it as a gauntlet. A gauntlet is a Shadowdark 0 level adventure, or you can run it as a level 1 adventure. And the reason for this is we very much wrote this in mind for it to be sort of minimal combat, i.e., Shadowdark can be very, very dangerous, certainly at low levels. And we wanted to get the concept, the mechanical concept across to players, that every encounter that you come across can be resolved with your wits rather than your blades. You can fight. Some of the fights are particularly tough, and you start off. I should probably say this is obviously the adventure, so if you're planning on playing in the adventure, perhaps you should just turn off the video now, because there will be spoilers. So the characters start off in prison beneath the Arena of Blood, which is a sort of gladiatorial arena, but naked, but for loincloths, really. And we kind of wanted to start it that way. So the characters have to scavenge, have to use their wits and cunning to escape, and they can get into combat if they so choose, or if their arm is twisted. But they need to think about it rather than just charge in there. Of course, if it's a higher fantasy setting and different mechanic, you can change that, and there can be lots of combat should you wish. The other thing that we wanted to do, we traditionally come from 5e or Dungeons and Dragons, Sort of backgrounds really. I've been playing substantially before 5e, but for the last 10 years I've primarily, because the demand has been there, been running 5th ed. And there's a lot of GMs and players out there that are not familiar with OSR and Shadowdark and the like. So we kind of wanted to give this partially an introduction to them, so a feel for it, but we also wanted it to retain that OSR sort of keyword-esque kind of type of adventure. So we've kind of split it into 3 parts, or repeated the parts in different ways. The first part is, as we'll scroll down here, what you would see in kind of most standard adventures. There's some fantastic narrative here written by Matt to describe various encounters. This narrative can be used by your GMs. All GMs can be inspired by it. And as you scroll down here, you can see there are boxes that are highlighted with things that can be read out to the players. As I said, the players start with nothing, but as they search their cells, there's a random table, and random tables are very much OSR-esque. So a D12, and they might find something that can be utilized either immediately or soon after. And we've got some sort of little maps here that we kind of run this theatre of the mind, but maps are useful, especially if you're playing on virtual tabletops, as they make their way through. So this looking very much the kind of content that you would find in a more modern 5th edition type style here. I'm not going to go through all the encounters. Some of the encounters are incredibly tough. You know, an Oyugu, very dangerous creature, and the number of times I play tested this and ran it through, players and characters have been incredibly clever and cunning with the way that they have bested this terrible beast. So here we go. That forms the kind of first part of the adventure, and with it being introduction as well, you can have your characters starting as not knowing each other, waking up in the cells next to each other, or as an adventuring group that have been arrested and they all start off in prison proper. A little note upon the artwork. We have purchased the artwork from an artist. We're not particularly keen on sort of AI artwork. So as we sell more products, we'll be able to afford to commission even more artwork. And then it sort of comes to an end here. Which is this is only the beginning. This first adventure is over, but there is a lot more to explore and many stories to be told in the grim city of Ibihor and the lands beyond. The Times Undreamed of setting is growing and developing all the time, and we aim to reach more adventures set in Ibihor very soon, alongside with more information about the city and the world beyond. Watch this space. Yeah, we are developing this. We're planning to do an adventure and a sort of supplement book, a sort of pamphlet every month. So there'll be monthly sort of content coming out. We have done some actual play videos, as it says here. You can find the link below to this one. They are genuine actual plays, so it's not like let us demonstrate this dungeon to you. It's players discovering it for the very first time and choosing how they want to resolve the situation. But that is only the first part. I mean, that is page 15 there, because we are aware that OSR players kind of like to have all the pertinent facts at hand. Some 5e players do as well, GMs do as well. And I certainly like bullet points when I'm running. I kind of become aware of the adventure, and we thought it'd be a good idea to summarize everything. So we've done a number of appendices. So we come down here. Appendices 1 is a one-page adventure track list, and this is bullet points for the entirety of the adventure here, sort of split up into all the different parts. So if you weren't interested in all of the narrative, you could just use this to put your spin upon it, and it's a single page. And then we move to Appendix B, which is all the maps again, but this time we've put information upon the maps, but also key features. So again, you can take this and use it however you want. These maps relatively easy enough to convert to virtual tabletop, should you wish to. Dungeon level 3, lower level there, key features again. Dungeon level 4, key features again. And then we've created some monsters and enemies. These are kind of drawn from the core rules, but given a different bit of a spin on it. There's nothing untoward here. You can swap these out for anything else that you prefer, really. But jailers, arena master, the Otigug spawn. This is Otigug. These are this is a sort of lesser one than the bigger one there. That would be perhaps too big a challenge for lower level adventurers. Our mastiffs, and then we've come across Appendix D, some random tables, because as I said, it's quite fun to randomize stuff in adventures to create inspiration, and you can take these and you could use them in your own games for other things as well. So there's a table here that I've just shown you with what do you find, various bits of trash and junk that maybe you can utilize. And we wanted to include this right at the beginning of the adventure to try and convey, look, you don't have your real equipment, but how can you use this loose rock? How can you use a bit of mouldering cheese? Start getting people to think about the challenge that is ahead of them. Then other prisoners in the dungeon, if you want some NPCs, a little table there. Shadowdark and many other systems very keen for random events. So these are things that could happen that are specific to the jail beneath the Arena of Blood, if you wanted to randomize them. And there's a little bit of flavor here as well, in the fact that number 2 jailers play dice, shouting excitedly. It can be a little bit of a scene, or you hear it from your cages. We wanted to mix it up rather than you bump into some jailers. The armor rack can have particularly random equipment in the arena. And districts of Ib-Ihor. You can use this to establish which part of the city your players have emerged in. If they decide to try and escape through the sewers, which is the lower level. And those are 3 flavoursome districts of our campaign setting that they might emerge randomly. Then we come to traversing the sewers. So we didn't really want to write a convoluted map of the sewers and everything else, and we decided to do it as a set of random tables, and this could translate then into a whole different way of exploring a sewer network, both for the journey from the jail to the exit, and any other sort of sewer travels the characters might journey or venture on. So this is quite an extensive one, and as it says here, this second chapter paragraph. The appendix is actually a condensed version of our GM supplement to the Danger and Darkness Below, which contains more and expanded random tables and more suggestions for creating exciting and dangerous urban sewers for Ibayor or any other fantasy city. You can find the expanded supplement along with all of our other content on Drive-Thru. So we've expanded this beyond with some sort of creatures and larger tables as well. You can take a quick look on Drive-Thru if you are interested in that. It's something like $3, not very much at all. So as we come down here, we've got kind of how long is it going to take you to get through the sewers? We measure time with encounters, really. And you as a GM, especially if you're playing Shadowdark, realise time is important. You can either actively choose or roll a dice to see how many encounters they might face with that table there. All of this is optional stuff, setting the scene. So when you decide an encounter is going to take place, what is the area of the sewer like? It's cramped. The waste level is deep. 50% chance of your torch, any kind of mundane, being extinguished. And there is a terrible bad smell here. It smells like rotten eggs. So you can randomize this. You roll a d12 for each column, determining what is going on. There's a couple of things here that is I find interesting. Firstly, blocked or impassable. If they come across an area that they just can't get through because of this description, they have to add another d4 encounters on, lengthening the journey and making it even more dangerous. The waste level can burn through their torches, extinguishing their lights, percentage depending on how deep it is. And again, as a GM, you can modify this and monitor it how you want. Creating the encounter, what will your players find? Standard 2d6 table, there's trash, graffiti, location, treasure, an intelligent creature rather than an ooze or a beast, or perhaps even some treasure that has been flushed down the sewers. And then following on from that, there is sort of trash tables, and there's 12 here, but there's 3 columns to choose from, so that is 36. Graffiti encounters, and again, it's just designed to inspire you to something else. And if you want to expand, we found a handprint that has been covered with arcane energy onto a wall. What does that mean? Maybe spurring another encounter. Locations, if a location is found, maybe it's populated. Feel free to roll on the creatures to see who's populating it, what's the current state like. Creature encounters, lots of creatures with what it's potentially up to. There is in the Shadowdark rules an encounter table for whether they're carrying treasure or how they respond to the characters as well. Intelligent creatures, again, from the core, what are they doing down there? Some of these are substantially more powerful than a level 1 or a level 0 party can deal with. Just because the encounter takes place, it is our thought process that it doesn't have to resolve to combat. It can be quite interesting to flesh it out. You come across a demon, what is it doing down there? Is it going to use the players to go above the surface and do a task for it? Is it trapped down there? There's a whole host of options. And then finally, treasure encounters. Again, 3 columns, 12 each. sort of indicating treasures that can be found. And that is it. That brings to an end sort of the 28-page supplement and adventure that we've done. And me, myself, and Matt are very proud of it. We think it's very flavoursome. There's a whole host of different ways encounters can be solved. A huge amount of role play that can be done if you like role playing. And if you want to modify it for a little bit more savage combat, you can do that as well. It is, as I always say, your table and your fun, and it is not for myself or Matt to tell you how to play your tables. And we've tried to make it as open as possible and as flexible as possible for you to get the maximum fun out of it and be inspired by it as well. So this is where I leave you. All of the links are down in the chat section below. The actual play of Beneath the Arena of Blood and the link to drive through. Please leave a comment if you've got questions. If you've got more intense questions or in-depth questions, think about coming across to our Discord. We want to be open, and we want to talk about our products. We want to find out what you like about them and what you don't like, so we can always look to improve. So for now, adventurers, don't forget to keep those torches close and lit.